My name is Claire Anderson, 30 years old, the overlooked assistant who's been the backbone of Blackwell Enterprises for 8 long years. Pulling up to our sleek Manhattan office tower for what felt like the 1000th time, I caught Ethan Blackwell, my boss and secret love, glancing at his watch with that familiar mix of impatience and charm. Little did he know, under my professional pencil skirt and blouse, beat the heart of a woman he'd soon underestimate in the worst way possible. If you're reading this from a similar tangled web of love and ambition, share your story in the comments and hit subscribe to see how I turned betrayal into the ultimate empowerment. I grew up in a modest suburb of Chicago, far from the glittering skyscrapers of New York, where the Blackwells reigned supreme in the tech finance world. From the outside, we were the epitome of corporate romance hidden in plain sight. My grandfather had been a small-time inventor, tinkering with software in his basement. But it was Ethan's father, Victor Blackwell, who turned Blackwell Enterprises from a garage startup in 1985 into a $500 million empire specializing in financial algorithms and data security. Victor expanded it aggressively after taking over, growing it to employ over 1,000 people with clients from Wall Street to Silicon Valley. Ethan, 35, was the golden boy, groomed from birth to take the throne. He majored in finance at Harvard, partied through his 20s, yet his father handed him the COO position straight out of grad school. He spent more time at exclusive galas or with fleeting flings than crunching numbers, but Victor saw him as the future. Then there was me, Claire, always in the background at 30. I'd inherited my grandfather's knack for tech, teaching myself coding by 14 and building my first algorithm at 17. I double majored in computer science and business at Stanford, graduated magna cum laude, and brought real innovations to Blackwell Enterprises. Yet in meetings, Ethan would nod politely at my ideas before steering the conversation back to his vision. My best friend and also Ethan's sister, Mia, often warned me, "Claire, you're too good for this shadow life. I know you really like Ethan, but don't waste your best years on this." Even Mom called, "Claire, the Harringtons are very interested in you for Alexander. His character is impeccable, kind, successful. Please reconsider." I'd hedged, "Mom, I agree to consider marrying into the Harringtons if things fall apart here." But I pushed the idea aside, clinging to hope. Victor's wife, Lydia, came from old New York money and handled family drama like a pro, ignoring it with a glass of Pinot Grigio in hand. She played mediator but enabled Victor's favoritism toward Ethan, dismissing my contributions with a wave. 8 years ago, that's when it started. Ethan, then rising star, confessed his feelings amid a late-night work session. But Victor demanded he focus solely on career, no distractions like romance, for 8 years to prove himself worthy of CEO. So, we signed a secret contract. I'd be his assistant by day, lover by night, handling everything from schedules to intimate needs, in exchange for his promise of forever once the term ended. I looked forward to that day like a lifeline, managing his life flawlessly, no nuisance calls, perfect deals closed. From screening calls to negotiating multi-million-dollar deals that boosted Blackwell's stock by 15%. As the contract's end loomed, excitement bubbled inside me like champagne. 3 days left, and freedom beckoned. But fate had other plans. No wonder he called me indispensable. But whispers of his true love returning started fracturing my world. One afternoon, sorting his emails, I overheard him on the phone. "Sophia, it's been 8 years. When are you back?" Sophia Langford, his college sweetheart from a rival finance family, who'd left for Europe to find herself. My stomach twisted. Later, a jewelry store called. "Mr. Blackwell, your custom engagement ring from Tiffany's arrived, the one with the 5-carat diamond. We've set up the proposal venue at the rooftop garden. Looking forward to you and your fiancé." A Tiffany ring? One man, one lifetime purchase in their exclusive line. Was this for me? My heart soared. That night, in our shared penthouse overlooking Central Park, he pulled me close. Honey, I'll love you forever. Marry me? But the words weren't for me. They echoed in my mind from a voicemail I accidentally heard, meant for her. If she was his honey, who was I? The words echoed in my mind like a cruel joke, leaving a bitter taste. I'd overheard Ethan's voicemail meant for her, his voice soft and affectionate, promising eternal love and marriage. My heart sank. After 8 years of secrecy, was I just a temporary fill-in? My phone buzzed with a text from Mia. Claire, you deserve so much better than living in this hidden relationship. The Harringtons are the richest family in New York. Alexander's been asking about you. Why not reconsider? He's sharp, handsome, and runs a massive empire. The Harringtons owned Harrington Global, a sprawling $10 billion conglomerate in tech and real estate. Alexander, the heir, was renowned for his brilliant mind and striking looks. But I replied quickly, Mia, I'm fully committed to Ethan. This is just a phase until we're official. Then Sophia arrived, like a storm I never saw coming. I overheard his assistant whispering in the office hallway, Mr. Blackwell, your true love is finally back from Europe. When are you going to dump that stand-in secretary? Ethan's cold reply froze me. She's completely obsessed with me and can't imagine life without me. I'll handle her gently, take my time to ease her out. 8 years of devotion, and I was reduced to a stand-in? My thoughts flashed back to our beginning. Fresh out of college, I'd applied for the secretary job at Blackwell Enterprises. Ethan had charmed me with his smile and promises, drawing me into that secret contract. It's only temporary, he'd assured me, until my father sees I'm ready for more. Then we'll be together openly. That evening, as I unlocked the door to our shared penthouse with its stunning views of Central Park, Sophia waltzed in unannounced. She was stunning in a way that screamed old-money elegance, tall and graceful, with cascading waves of glossy auburn hair that framed her porcelain skin and piercing emerald eyes. Dressed in a tailored Chanel suit that hugged her slender figure perfectly, she carried herself with an effortless confidence like someone who'd never known a day of doubt or struggle. Claire, isn't it? You've been his secretary for 8 whole years, right? Her smile dripped with venom. I'm Sophia Langford, Ethan's fiancé. Thank you so much for taking care of him all this time. But I'll handle everything from now on. His schedule, his needs, all of it. My world spun. Ethan, we need to talk right now, I demanded, my voice trembling. He sighed heavily. Can it wait until tomorrow? I'm exhausted. No, it can't. Tell me, what is our relationship exactly? He snapped back. You're my secretary, Claire. What else could it be? You resemble her a bit. That's why I kept you around. Sophia chimed in smugly. He's absolutely right. You're just a placeholder until I returned. Ethan piled on. I felt sorry for you after graduation, so I let you work here and even stay in the penthouse for convenience. That's all it was. Sophia smirked wider. Wait, Claire lives here too? Perfect. Could you carry my luggage up to our bedroom? We're getting married soon, so it's time we live together properly. I shot back. I'm a secretary, not a maid. Do it yourself. As I started packing my things to leave, Ethan blocked the door. I don't allow you to go anywhere. Then Sophia, accidentally, knocked over our first gift, a delicate music box from him, shattering it. Oops, my bad. Ethan exploded. Kneel down right now and clean up this mess. The contract isn't over yet. You follow my orders. I knelt all night on the sharp shards, my knees bleeding, heart shattering worse. This is the last time I let you hurt me, I whispered to myself. 8 years blind to the truth. The contract ends, and so do we. The pain from kneeling all night on those sharp glass shards was unbearable, each fragment digging into my knees like tiny knives, drawing blood that soaked through my stockings and pooled on the cold marble floor of the penthouse. As the hours dragged on in the dim light of the living room, with only the distant hum of New York traffic outside the windows to keep me company, I replayed the last 8 years in my mind like a painful montage. Late nights in the office, my fingers flying over the keyboard as I coded innovative security algorithms that prevented data breaches and saved Blackwell Enterprises millions in potential losses. Personal moments, too, rushing to Ethan's side when he was down with the flu, brewing herbal tea and canceling meetings so he could rest, all while putting my own aspirations on hold. I'd given up grad school opportunities, travel dreams, even simple things like weekends with friends, all for him and this secret life we shared. And for what? To be reduced to this humiliating punishment? Morning finally broke, sunlight filtering through the floor-to-ceiling windows and casting long shadows across the room. Sophia sauntered in first, her perfectly manicured nails tapping on her phone as she looked down at me with a smug smile. "Oh, look at you, Claire. Did you really kneel here all night?" "Of course you did. You're just his secretary after all. You have to obey whatever Ethan says, right? How pathetic." Her voice dripped with false pity, but her eyes sparkled with triumph. Ethan appeared shortly after, his hair tousled from sleep, wearing the silk robe I'd bought him last Christmas. He glanced at my swollen, bloody knees, but showed no remorse, instead, holding out his hand expectantly. "Where's the self-criticism letter I asked for?" "You need to admit your mistakes clearly, state what you did wrong and how you'll fix it. Give it to me before noon." I handed it over, my hands trembling from exhaustion and rage, but I kept my expression neutral. He skimmed it quickly, his brow furrowing. "Your knees might be delicate, but your mouth is still too stubborn for your own good. All right, since you're injured, you don't need to come into the office for the next few days. Go home and get some rest." "Home?" I echoed, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "Which home are you talking about, Ethan? Isn't this supposed to be our place? Or do you mean I should go back to my old apartment while you and Sophia turn this into your love nest?" He waved a hand dismissively, as if my words were an annoying fly. "Claire, what's gotten into you? I'm just marrying Sophia. It's a business arrangement, nothing more. It won't affect your position here at all. You'll still be my secretary, handling everything like always." "You'll just marry her?" I repeated, incredulous, feeling a bitter laugh bubble up in my throat. "Mr. Blackwell, you really don't take marriage seriously, do you? 8 years of me being everything to you, assistant, confidant, lover, and now it's all reduced to this? A convenient side arrangement while you play house with her?" His face reddened, and he exploded in anger, slamming his fist on the nearby coffee table, making the remnants of last night's shattered music box jump. "I've spoiled you too much, Claire. You've become way too unruly and entitled. Fine. If you refuse to rest like I suggested, then come to work as usual tomorrow. But until you think this through and get your head straight, don't come bothering me with this nonsense. Now get out of my sight." I left the room without another word, my knees throbbing with every step, but my resolve hardening like steel. As I bandaged my wounds in the guest bathroom, my phone buzzed. It was Mia. "Claire, are you okay? Listen, there's a big banquet at Blackwell Manor tomorrow evening. The whole family's hosting it, and I insisted on inviting you as my best friend. My parents have been dying to meet you properly. Come, it's the perfect chance to end this mess publicly, on your terms." I hesitated, but the thought of facing them all and walking away with my head high appealed to me. The Harringtons would be there too. Alexander had apparently flown in overnight from Chicago just for the event. "All right, Mia, I'll be there." A quick flashback hit me then, pulling me back to our childhood. Mia had introduced me to Ethan at a school event when we were teens. He'd been kind back then, seeing me cry over my parents' divorce. "Hey, don't cry. From now on, no matter what, I'll protect you like a big brother," he'd said, handing me that music box as a symbol of his promise. It played a soft melody that always calmed me. But now, Sophia's words echoed, "Claire, Ethan told me he just pities you. He sees you as a little sister, nothing more. If you're smart, you'll disappear as far as possible once the contract expires. Don't come back bothering us." I shook off the memory, finishing the self-criticism letter with a final flourish that satisfied Ethan's demand, but burned with my unspoken fury. "Rest," he'd said. But I had no intention of hiding. Instead, I prepared for the banquet, my grand exit. I chose a sleek red dress that hugged my figure, paired with heels that made me feel powerful, and subtle makeup that hid the exhaustion in my eyes. The event was lavish, held at the sprawling Hamptons estate with crystal chandeliers glittering overhead, waiters circulating with champagne flutes, and string quartets playing in the background. Mia's parents greeted me warmly at the entrance. "Claire, dear, Mia talks about you all the time. She says you're so hardworking and kind-hearted. It's wonderful to finally meet you in person. You look absolutely stunning tonight." "Thank you so much," I replied, forcing a smile as the scent of fresh orchids from the centerpieces filled the air. "It's an honor to be here." "By the way," Mia's mom added with a wink, "Mia mentioned you've been so busy with work that you haven't had time to date. There are plenty of eligible young men here tonight, talented professionals from all over. Would you like us to introduce you to a few?" Before I could respond, Ethan spotted me from across the room and pulled me aside into a quiet alcove, his grip firm on my arm. "What on earth are you doing here, Claire? This is a family event. How did you even get invited?" I yanked my arm free, meeting his eyes steadily. "Mia invited me. We're best friends, remember? I didn't want to disappoint her by not showing up." He glanced around nervously, lowering his voice. "Look, you need to be careful. Don't cause a scene. This won't affect your marriage plans with Sophia, will it? I mean, our arrangement—" "Arrangement?" I hissed. "Ethan, it's a marriage of convenience for the family, right? That's what you whispered to me earlier. Be sensible, honey. Your words, not mine." His face softened for a moment, but there was desperation in his eyes. "Honey, you know I don't mean it like that. Please, just be my sensible girl like always." "Don't call me honey," I snapped, stepping back as if the word burned. "It makes me nauseous now. After everything, that's all I am to you?" The tension was interrupted when Sophia's voice rang out dramatically from the center of the room. "My engagement ring, it's gone! Oh no, Jamie! Ethan, help!" She clutched her hand theatrically, the 5-carat diamond nowhere in sight. The crowd murmured, eyes turning toward us. Sophia zeroed in on me, her accusation sharp and public. "You took it, didn't you, Claire? You've been by Ethan's side for years as his possessive little secretary. It's only natural you'd feel jealous. But that ring means everything to me. It's one of a kind. I'm begging you, please return it." The room fell silent, guests whispering, "Stealing an engagement ring? How shameless." Heat rose to my face, but I stood tall. "Ethan, we've been together in secret for 8 years. I thought we could at least part on good terms without this drama. But clearly that's not happening." He looked flustered. "What are you talking about? The ring? Don't change the subject. I told you I didn't take it." "I know you didn't," Sophia interjected smoothly, but then she rummaged in her bag and pulled it out. "Oh, wait. I was so careless. I must have put it in here before washing my hands in the bathroom. I'm sorry, Claire. I misunderstood you completely. Please don't take it personally." Ethan immediately sided with her, turning to me with a stern glare. "See? Sophia's apologized. Why are you still being so confrontational about this?" "Confrontational?" I retorted, my voice rising slightly as the crowd watched. "What were you just doing, Ethan? Accusing me in front of everyone? Treating me like a thief? Were you being nice to me then?" He shifted uncomfortably. "I know you're upset, because you're afraid I'll dump you after marrying Sophia. How about this? We can sign a new contract? The term can be whatever you want. 10 years, 20, say it. Are you satisfied now?" The murmurs grew louder. "All the female secretaries are like that, sluts dressing up to look like the fiancé, thinking they can marry into wealth with tricks. Yeah, kick her out of the city." I felt tears prick my eyes, but refused to let them fall. "Ethan, What makes you think I'd sign another contract with you? For the past 8 years, I've worked tirelessly, given you all my youth, my energy. I gave up my dreams of starting my own tech firm, of traveling the world. I did whatever you asked, no questions. I've done everything humanly possible for you. Why are you still dissatisfied? Why treat me like this? He blinked, as if my words finally pierced his bubble. What nonsense are you talking about? Claire, is there some misunderstanding here? Mia's dad stepped in then, his voice calm but authoritative. Claire, if Ethan's been bullying you, tell me. I'll handle it. Give him a piece of my mind if needed. I shook my head, exhaustion washing over me. No, sir. Nothing like that. I'm just worn out from the work. I need a breather, that's all. Ethan seized the moment. If you're tired, take some paid time off. I'll assign your duties to someone else temporarily. But I cut him off. No, I said I won't sign it. I'm done. His face hardened. Claire, I've shown you enough respect by offering this. Don't push your luck. Sophia chimed in sweetly. Ethan, if Claire doesn't want to renew, don't pressure her. She can find a good job elsewhere after leaving Blackwell Enterprises. Ethan turned back to me, his threat low and menacing. Do you think you're that important, Claire? Once you leave Blackwell Enterprises, no company will hire you. Your salary won't even reach 1/10 of what you're making now. You'll regret this. The room was buzzing now, tension thick as fog. That's when Alexander Harrington strode in, his presence commanding immediate attention. Tall, with sharp features and an air of quiet confidence, he scanned the scene before speaking. Actually, I want to hire her. I've long heard about Claire's exceptional talent. Her contributions to Blackwell are vice president level. I'd like to invite you to join Harrington Global as my chief assistant. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Harrington Global was worth $10 billion, the wealthiest conglomerate in New York. Who are you? Ethan demanded, his voice laced with disbelief. Alexander Harrington, he replied coolly. The eldest son of the Harrington family. I took over at 15. Some call me a business genius. And yes, I've admired Claire's work for years. He turned to me with a genuine smile. Your importance is clear. Blackwell wouldn't be where it is without you. Ethan fumed, his face turning purple. She's just an ordinary assistant, not worth the trouble or the exorbitant penalty fee to poach her. Alexander shrugged. Ordinary? Far from it. And the fee? I'll handle it. No issue. The logic of the moment hit me like a wave, Ethan's threats crumbling under Alexander's offer, the crowd's judgment shifting. It was smoother now, clearer, my path out of this nightmare finally visible. Alexander's bold offer echoed through the grand ballroom of Blackwell Manor, silencing the murmurs of the elite guests for a moment. The air was thick with tension, the crystal chandeliers casting flickering shadows on the polished marble floors. I stood there, my knees still throbbing from the night of humiliation as everyone stared. Ethan, his face flushed with a mix of anger and disbelief, gripped the edge of a nearby table, his knuckles turning white. Sophia, with her perfectly manicured nails and designer gown that screamed old money, crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing into slits. The penalty fee for breaking her contract? Alexander said smoothly, his voice carrying the quiet authority of someone who ran a $10 billion empire without breaking a sweat. He adjusted his cufflinks, glancing at me with a reassuring nod. I'll cover it personally. Hundreds of millions if that's what it takes. Harrington Global doesn't shy away from investing in true talent. Whispers erupted around us like a wave. Why her? What's so special about this secretary? One guest muttered to another. Harrington's throwing around that kind of cash? She must have some hidden pull. I could feel the judgment in their eyes, the same way I'd felt it for years, reduced to a footnote in Ethan's story. But Alexander's presence shifted the dynamic. He was the heir to New York's most powerful conglomerate, known for his strategic mind and unyielding ethics. No one dared challenge him openly. Sophia couldn't hold back any longer. She stepped forward, her heels clicking sharply against the floor, a venomous smile twisting her lips. "Oh, please, this is ridiculous. Claire's nothing but a desperate climber. She's been seducing her boss for years, acting like a slut to get ahead. Everyone knows it." The word hit me like a slap, but before I could respond, my hand moved on its own. I swung, connecting with her cheek in a resounding crack that echoed through the room. Gasps filled the air as Sophia staggered back, her hand flying to her face, eyes wide with shock. "You framed me for stealing that ring, humiliated me in front of everyone," I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through me. "Did you really think I'd just endure it? Lie after lie. I'm done being your punching bag." Ethan lunged forward, his face contorted in rage. "Claire, how dare you? You've overstepped your bounds. Sophia's my fiancé. She deserves respect. Apologize right now." Alexander positioned himself between us, his tall frame a protective barrier. "Enough of this," he commanded, his tone leaving no room for argument. "There's no contract dispute here anymore. The terms expired, and Claire's free to choose her path. I can hire her without interference." He turned to me, his eyes softening slightly. "Name your terms, Claire. Salary, position, whatever you need to join Harrington Global as my chief assistant." Ethan laughed bitterly, but it came out forced, almost desperate. "This is stupid. He's lying to get under my skin. Claire, don't fall for it. You know where you belong with me at Blackwell Enterprises." I met Ethan's gaze, the man I'd devoted 8 years to, and felt a strange calm wash over me. Belong? After everything? No, Ethan, I'm done. I took the contract from Alexander and signed it right there, the pen scratching against the paper like a final punctuation on our secret life. "Let's go," I said to Alexander, grabbing my clutch and turning away from the stunned crowd. We slipped out to his waiting limo, the cool night air a relief after the stuffy ballroom. As we settled into the plush leather seats, the city lights blurring past the tinted windows, Alexander noticed my limp. "Your knees, they're injured badly. What happened? Knelt on glass shards?" I winced as he gently lifted the hem of my dress to inspect the wounds, the dried blood stark against my skin. "Yes, last night. Ethan made me kneel and clean up the mess Sophia caused. It was punishment for defying them." His jaw tightened, but he reached for a first aid kit in the compartment, carefully bandaging the cuts with steady hands. "That's unacceptable. No one should endure that." He paused, meeting my eyes. "And about the fiancé part, yes, we're marrying. Or at least, that's the plan if you're still on board." A flashback hit me then, vivid as yesterday. 8 years ago, right before I signed with Ethan, my mom had sat me down in our cozy Chicago kitchen, her voice hopeful. "Claire, the Harringtons are the wealthiest family in New York. Alexander's got a great character, smart, kind, handsome. Would you reconsider meeting him? It could be a fresh start." I'd been so infatuated with Ethan back then. "Mom, I agree to marry into the Harringtons if things ever change. But right now, my heart's elsewhere." Little did I know how prophetic that would be. Back in the limo, Alexander smiled faintly. "Nice to meet you properly, my fiancé." He explained, his voice warm and genuine. "I've heard about your capabilities for years. Blackwell Enterprises, I mean the company, thrives because of you. The deals you've closed, the innovations you've pushed through. The contract remains valid, but this is more than business. I admire you, Claire." I hesitated, the weight of the past pressing down. 8 years as Ethan's secret lover. "If you mind that history, we can call off the engagement. No hard feelings." He shook his head, his expression unwavering. "I don't care about such things. Your past doesn't define you. Your strength does. I respect your choices, and I'm here because I believe in what we could build together." Inside the small but welcoming apartment, filled with the faint scent of Mia's lavender candles and scattered throw pillows, I sank onto the couch. My fingers trembled as I pulled out my phone and blocked Ethan's number. Every call, every text, every late-night plea erased with a single tap. A mix of liberation washed over me, like shedding a heavy coat after a long winter. But it was undercut by a deep ache, the kind that comes from 8 years of poured-out devotion. Just then, Mia's text buzzed in. "Girl, Ethan's losing it. He's pacing our family home like a caged lion, ranting that you're marrying someone else already. He thinks this is some revenge plot. Stay safe. Call if you need me." Before I could even process it, the door flew open with a bang that rattled the walls. Ethan burst in, his expensive tie hanging loose around his neck, hair disheveled, and eyes bloodshot with fury and desperation. He must have followed us from the banquet, ignoring every boundary. "Claire, what the hell is going on? Who are you marrying? I don't allow this. You can't just walk away. You're mine. We've built everything together, the company, our life, all of it. You owe me an explanation." Alexander, who had lingered in the hallway, stepped inside swiftly and positioned himself protectively in front of me, his posture calm but unyielding like a wall of quiet strength. "That's enough, Ethan. She's my woman now, my fiancé, to be precise. I suggest you back off, keep your distance, and stop bothering her. This obsession ends tonight." Ethan's face twisted in rage, and he lunged forward, swinging a wild fist aimed at Alexander's jaw. But Alexander, with the reflexes honed from years of high-stakes negotiations and perhaps some self-defense training, dodged effortlessly. He caught Ethan's arm in a firm, vice-like grip, twisting it just enough to immobilize him without causing real harm. "Listen carefully," Alexander said, his voice low and measured, like a CEO delivering a final warning in a boardroom. "This ends now. If you harass her again, calls, visits, anything, Blackwell Enterprises vanishes from the map. Harrington Global can make that happen overnight. Partnerships pulled, investors spooked, your stock plummeting. It's your choice, but choose wisely. Walk away while you still can." Ethan wrenched his arm free, breathing heavily, his chest heaving as defeat flickered in his eyes amid the lingering rage. He shot me one last pleading, accusatory glare. "This isn't over, Claire. You'll regret this. You need me." With that, he turned on his heel and slammed the door so hard the frame shook, leaving an echoing silence in his wake. Alexander turned to me, his expression softening as he checked if I was okay. "Are you all right? He didn't touch you?" I nodded, still shaken but grateful. We talked briefly about next steps, security, perhaps a restraining order, before he left, promising to check in soon. Later that night, as I tried to unwind with a cup of herbal tea, Mia called with the full scoop. "Claire? You won't believe it. Ethan went straight home after that and completely unleashed on Sophia during her wedding dress fitting. She was twirling in this over-the-top gown that cost a fortune, custom Vera Wang apparently, and he just snapped. "You're ugly in that dress," he yelled. "It looks ridiculous on you, and you can't hold a candle to Claire. She's irreplaceable. The brains, the heart, everything." Sophia was in tears, and their parents had to intervene. It's chaos over here. For the first time in years, as I slipped under the covers in Mia's guest room, I slept without the crushing weight of secrets pressing down on me. No more hiding, no more waiting for Ethan's approval. I was free, ready for whatever dawn brought. Perhaps a new beginning with Alexander, or simply reclaiming my own life. The ache lingered, but so did the spark of hope. In the quiet aftermath of Ethan's explosive outburst at our doorstep, I found myself in Alexander's sleek Manhattan penthouse, the city lights twinkling like distant stars through the floor-to-ceiling windows. My knees still throbbed from the glass shards, a painful reminder of the night I'd knelt in humiliation. But Alexander's gentle care as he applied ointment and bandages made the ache feel a little less sharp. "How are you holding up?" he asked, his voice steady and concerned, without a trace of the smugness I'd feared from someone in his position. The scent of fresh coffee wafted from the kitchen, where he'd insisted on brewing a pot to help me unwind. "I'm okay, I think," I replied, though my voice wavered. "It's just overwhelming. Ethan showing up like that, ranting about not allowing me to marry anyone else, it felt like the final nail in the coffin of those 8 years." Alexander nodded, his dark eyes meeting mine with empathy. He wasn't the type to gloat. Instead, he reached into his briefcase and pulled out a thick folder, sliding it across the marble coffee table toward me. "I have something that might help shift your focus. Consider this a small token, a marriage gift, if you will." Curious, I opened the folder, my eyes widening as I scanned the documents inside. It was the contract for the Green Bay project, a massive $200 million infrastructure deal involving advanced financial tech integrations that I'd personally nurtured at Blackwell Enterprises. I'd spent countless late nights refining the proposals, negotiating with stakeholders, and ensuring every detail was flawless. It was supposed to be the crowning achievement of my time there, the one project I regretted leaving behind the most. How did you get this?" I stammered, flipping through the pages, feeling the weight of the signed agreements in my hands. Alexander leaned back, a subtle smile playing on his lips. "I knew how much it meant to you, from what I'd heard through industry channels and from Mia's subtle hints. The Harrington Group has the resources to outbid and outmaneuver, so I made sure to snatch it up before Blackwell could finalize. Now, it's yours to lead under our banner. Think of it as the first step in building something new, away from the shadows." Tears welled up unexpectedly, not from sadness, but from a profound sense of validation. "Alexander, this is incredible. I poured my soul into this, meetings that ran until dawn, data models I built from scratch. To have it back, it feels like reclaiming a piece of myself." I paused, wiping my eyes, suddenly hit by a wave of clarity. "You know, I've just realized how blind I've been these past years. I wasted so much time on a man who didn't deserve it, chasing validation in a relationship that was built on secrets and convenience. All those sacrifices, giving up my own ambitions, turning down opportunities, just to stay in his orbit." He reached out, gently squeezing my hand. "As long as you end up with the right person, those hardships become worth it. They shape you into who you are now, stronger, wiser." His words hung in the air, prompting me to ask about something that had been nagging at me since our earlier conversation. Speaking of the past, when Ethan and I were about to sign that ridiculous contract 8 years ago, my mom tried to set me up on a blind date. She kept pushing the Harrington family, saying their son had great character and appearance. "Was that you?" Alexander chuckled softly, a rare glimpse of vulnerability crossing his features. "Yes, it was me. Your mother and mine are old friends from charity circles, and they thought we'd be a good match. I showed up to that cafe excited to meet you after hearing so much, but you were so wrapped up in Ethan, talking about him nonstop, your eyes lighting up at the mention of Blackwell Enterprises. I could see you weren't ready, so I asked your mom not to push it. I told her, she's unwilling right now, but I'm willing to wait." I stared at him, piecing together the fragments. "Wait, you said something about high school earlier. We went to the same one? I transferred out junior year because of a family move." He nodded, leaning forward. "Exactly. We were in the same advanced math class, but you were always focused, head down in your notebooks. I had a crush on you back then, the way you solved problems effortlessly, your quiet determination. But before I could work up the nerve to talk to you properly, you were gone. I told myself if fate brought us back together, I'd do everything to impress you and win your heart." The revelation warmed me from within, like puzzle pieces finally clicking into place. "All this time, you've been waiting? That's why you stepped in at the banquet, why you're offering me this partnership." He shrugged modestly. "I've built Harrington Global into what it is, but personal life? I've been patient. Now, with the contract behind you and Ethan exposed, what do you say we announce our marriage? Make it official. No more secrets." Drama from the past stirred in my mind. Ethan's threats, Sophia's schemes, but the idea felt right, empowering. Yes, I said firmly. Let's do it. No more hiding. Meanwhile, Ethan's pleas flooded my blocked phone via emails and mutual contacts. Claire, it's all a misunderstanding, one message read. I love you. I'll call off things with Sophia. We've been engaged since college, but I doubted my feelings back then. Thought it was just friendship, but when I heard you're marrying, I realized it's always been you. The secret contract? I did it out of love, to keep you close while proving myself to Dad. My response was laced with sarcasm in my mind, though I never sent it. Out of love? Trapping me in an 8-year deal where I was your hidden lover? Handling your life while you paraded Sophia? That's not love. That's control. His desperation grew, but I focused forward. The cocktail party at Harrington Tower loomed, a grand affair with crystal chandeliers and elite guests buzzing about business mergers. Alexander planned to introduce me not just as his wife, but as the new vice president overseeing major projects. This is your moment, he said, adjusting his tie. Ready to step into the light? As we prepared, I felt a surge of confidence. 8 years of shadows were ending. A new chapter of equality and respect was beginning. The cocktail party at the Harrington Tower's Grand Ballroom was alive with the hum of New York's elite, crystal glasses clinking, soft jazz floating through the air, and whispers about Alexander Harrington's mysterious fiancé rippling like waves. String lights draped from the high ceilings cast a warm glow over the marble floors, where executives in tailored suits and women in elegant gowns mingled, discussing mergers and market trends. I'd spent the afternoon preparing meticulously, transforming myself from the efficient secretary I'd been for so long into a vision of poised elegance that reflected my new role. I chose a sleek black gown made of shimmering silk that hugged my slender figure just right, accentuating my hourglass silhouette with a subtle V neckline that revealed a hint of collarbone without being overt. The dress flowed to the floor in a mermaid style, with a small slit up the side that allowed for graceful movement, and I paired it with delicate silver heels that added a few inches to my 5'7" frame, making me feel taller and more commanding. My long chestnut hair, usually tied back in a practical ponytail during work hours, was now pinned in a sophisticated updo, with soft tendrils framing my heart-shaped face, highlighting my high cheekbones and almond-shaped hazel eyes that sparkled under the lights. I kept my makeup natural yet striking, a touch of smoky eyeshadow to bring out the green flecks in my eyes, rosy blush on my fair skin, and a bold red lipstick that matched my newfound confidence. A simple diamond necklace, Alexander's early wedding gift, draped around my neck, catching the light and drawing subtle compliments, while my posture, honed from years of carrying the weight of unspoken secrets, exuded an air of quiet authority. This wasn't just an outfit, it was armor, a statement that I was no longer in the shadows, but stepping into the spotlight on my own terms. As guests arrived, the rumors swirled thicker than the champagne bubbles. I heard Harrington's been engaged for years, but no one's seen her, one investor murmured to another. Must be someone powerful, maybe from old money. I stayed by Alexander's side, greeting partners with a confident smile, but my mind wandered to Ethan. Since I'd left Blackwell Enterprises, reports trickled in through mutual contacts. The company was in disarray. Projects I'd spearheaded were stalling, morale was low, and Ethan had become erratic, skipping meetings and snapping at staff. Part of me felt a pang of guilt for the team I'd left behind, but the betrayal still burned fresh. Sophia, ever the opportunist, had her own agenda. Dressed in a flashy red number that screamed for attention, she cornered a group near the bar, her voice carrying just enough to reach my ears. If I can befriend Harrington's fiancé, it'll be easy to get Claire out of the picture, she confided to a friend, not realizing I was within earshot. That girl's been nothing but trouble, stealing projects, playing games. Once I'm in good with the wife, she'll see Claire for the backstabber she is and kick her from Harrington Global. Then, she'll have to leave the city for good. Her laugh was sharp, like breaking glass, and it fueled my resolve. Little did she know, I was the fiancé she plotted against. Ethan arrived looking haggard, his usual polished charm frayed at the edges, tie askew, eyes shadowed from sleepless nights. He scanned the room desperately, probably searching for me, while Sophia clung to his arm like a lifeline. The Green Bay project's loss had hit hard. It was supposed to be Blackwell's flagship deal for the year, worth $200 million in revenue. Without it, board members were grumbling, and whispers of financial strain echoed even here. "The company's a mess since she left," I overheard one Blackwell employee say to another. "Claire handled over half the projects. First in, last out every day. Now, it's chaos." The moment of truth came during Alexander's toast. He raised his glass, the room falling silent as spotlights focused on us. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I introduce not just my partner in life, but in business, Claire Harrington, my wife and our new vice president. She'll lead our major initiatives, bringing the innovation that's already transformed Harrington global." Applause erupted, but Ethan's face drained of color. Sophia gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "You?" Ethan stormed forward, voice rising above the murmurs. "This is a lie! Claire, how could you hook up with him so fast? You left Blackwell and jumped straight into his bed?" The room tensed, guests exchanging shocked glances. I met his gaze steadily, my voice calm but firm. "Ethan, we've been over this. Alexander and I have been engaged for 8 years, long before any of this." "8 years?" Sophia interjected, her tone dripping with disbelief. "You're lying. If that were true, why did you curry favor with Ethan all that time? 8 years as his secretary, living in his penthouse, handling his every need. You were obsessed, trying to seduce him because he wouldn't marry you. Now you're making do with Harrington?" Alexander stepped in, his arm protectively around me. "My wife owes you no explanations. But if you insist on airing dirty laundry here, let's set the record straight." Ethan pointed accusingly. "Proof? I have proof of our relationship. We were together, intimate, for those 8 years. You were my secret, Claire, because of the contract. But it was real." I shook my head, the crowd hanging on every word. "Then show it, Ethan. A photo of us together? A message? Any evidence at all?" He faltered, searching his phone frantically, but came up empty. You destroyed it all to marry into money," he stammered. "But you love me. You left because I couldn't marry you yet, not because of him." Sophia nodded vigorously. "Everyone knows it. His friends can vouch. You used your position to seduce him, living there to get close." At that moment, Mia, now stepping up as Blackwell's new CEO, pushed through the crowd. "I can testify," she said loudly, drawing eyes. As Ethan's sister, I've seen it all. Claire was an exceptional secretary who built Blackwell's success single-handedly. She secured deals, innovated tech, and kept the company afloat. But romance? Never. No intimate moments, no whispers of a relationship. She was professional through and through. Ethan whirled on her. "Mia, you're my sister. How can you side with them?" "Because it's the truth," Mia replied firmly. "We've owed Claire for years. Now she's happy with the man she loves. Why ruin it?" The murmurs turned against Ethan. "No evidence? Sounds like denial. His fiancé's right here. Scandalous." Alexander signaled security. "Enough. This party's over for you two." Guards escorted them out amid protests, Ethan shouting, "Claire, this isn't over." Sophia hissing accusations until the doors closed. As the room settled, Alexander squeezed my hand. "You handled that perfectly." Relief washed over me. The unraveling was public, but so was my new beginning. The night continued with toasts to our future, the weight of 8 years finally lifting. The morning of our wedding dawned crisp and clear over the Harrington estate in the Hamptons, the kind of perfect autumn day that felt like a fresh start after years of hidden heartache. I stood in front of the full-length mirror in the bridal suite, adjusting the lace veil that cascaded down my back like a waterfall of promises kept. My gown, a custom Vera Wang with delicate pearl embroidery, hugged my figure in a way that made me feel both elegant and empowered. Not the overlooked secretary anymore, but a woman stepping into her own light. Alexander had insisted on every detail being meaningful. The venue overlooking the ocean where we'd shared our first real conversation about the future. The flowers in soft whites and blues to match the sea, and a small guest list of close friends and family to keep it intimate, away from the prying eyes of New York's elite gossip circles. As I walked down the aisle on my mother's arm, her eyes misty with a mix of pride and regret for not pushing me harder away from Ethan sooner, the string quartet played a gentle rendition of Clair de Lune. Alexander waited at the altar, tall and composed in his tailored tuxedo, his dark hair neatly styled, a warm smile breaking through his usually stoic demeanor. His eyes locked on mine, filled with the quiet certainty that had drawn me to him after all these years of waiting. "You look breathtaking," he whispered as I reached him, his hand steady as it took mine, grounding me in this new reality. The officiant, an old family friend of the Harringtons, began the ceremony with words about love's endurance and second chances. When it came time for the vows, Alexander went first, his voice clear and unwavering. "Claire, from the moment I saw you in high school, lost in your books and dreams, I knew you were extraordinary. I waited 8 years, not because I had to, but because I wanted you to choose this freely, without shadows. Today I vow to stand beside you, not behind or ahead, but as your equal partner. In sickness and in health, through boardroom battles and quiet nights, I'll cherish you, support your ambitions, and build a life where you're never invisible again. Will you have me as your husband?" Tears pricked my eyes, but I held them back, squeezing his hand. "Alexander, I spent too long in the dark, giving my heart to someone who saw me as a convenience. But you saw me fully, even when I couldn't see myself. You've shown me what real love looks like, patient, respectful, and fierce. I vow to love you with the same depth, to comfort you in tough times, honor your dreams as you honor mine, and forsake all others to build our future together. In wealth or challenge, as long as we both shall live, yes, I will have you as my husband." The officiant smiled broadly. "By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Alexander, you may kiss your bride." Our kiss was tender yet electric, sealing not just a marriage but a victory over the past, the cheers from guests like Mia and my mom echoing like applause for a long overdue triumph. But even on this joyous day, echoes of the past intruded. Flashbacks played in my mind as we posed for photos, Ethan's accusations at the cocktail party, claiming I'd seduced him for 8 years. "Proof?" I demanded then, and he had none. No photos, no messages, because he'd insisted on secrecy to protect his legacy. Sophia's venomous words, "You're a stand-in, nothing more." I'd refuted them calmly, Mia testifying we'd never been romantic, just professional. "All his friends know," Ethan had blustered, but when pressed for evidence, he crumbled. "Destroyed it to marry rich," he'd accused. But it was his own erasure of our relationship that proved it was never real. Meanwhile, chaos engulfed the Blackwells. Back in their Manhattan penthouse, Victor had exploded upon hearing Alexander's ban, no cooperation with Blackwell Enterprises until Ethan resigned. "You idiot," he'd shouted, according to Mia's later recount, his fist slamming the desk so hard papers flew. Ethan, nursing bruises from a family discussion that turned physical, Victor's rage manifesting in a rare loss of control, pleaded, "Dad, it's not my fault. Henry's threatening us." His mother, Lydia, intervened, tears streaming. "Stop hitting him, Victor. There must be a solution without groveling." Ethan, desperate, proposed, "We save the company without apologizing. Leak dirt on Harrington Global. Sabotage deals." But Victor shut it down. "Foolish. That'd destroy us faster. Pleas followed, Lydia begging Mia for intervention, Ethan calling endlessly. Claire, answer. I was wrong. Give me a chance. I blocked them all. Alexander's condition stood firm. Resign, and talks resume. It was logical. Ethan's impulsiveness had tanked projects. My departure exposed his incompetence. As we cut the cake, I reflected, this wasn't revenge, but justice. Ethan resigned weeks later. The Blackwells humbled, opening doors for real collaboration. In the end, our vows weren't just words. They were a bridge from betrayal to bliss, proving love thrives in light, not shadows.